Welcome to the Ultimate Tolkien Tournament. This is Middle-earth Madness. Yes, welcome back to the madness of March, everyone. The Middle-earth variety of March Madness. So, it's been a minute. I hope you have missed us as much as we have missed you. I am the Madness Maestro, and we are coming back for another round this year of the Third Age Throwdown Tournament. And the big news that we have since last year is we have brackets that you can fill out for yourself. Last year, of course, it was just kind of us in the inner circle doing test brackets, making our own predictions, having our own sort of pool as we stream these shows for you. This year, you can make your own bracket. This tournament, since we had a little delay, several delays in launching, actually, it's free. It's free for everyone. So there's still time. You'll see some streams tonight, though, that technically they'll count for points, 1 point each. But everyone, brackets are still open. Feel free to jump in. Tonight, we are joined by TJ over there and by Patty Man, who you guys might remember from last year. So welcome back to TJ and to Patty Man. How you guys doing tonight?
Doing well. Nice to see the Maestro again.
We're back, baby. Yeah,
it's back on.
It's back on, man. We've been excited. I was just telling everyone, I don't know if you heard it right as you joined, but we have brackets this year. So
yes,
and they actually kind of work. They mostly work, I'll say. They're fully functional. They're just not looking quite how we want them to look yet. So growing pains. But I was telling everyone there's still time to throw in your brackets. Look, it's free, so we're not taking them like, full scoring integrity is still on the table. But I want to leave the contest and the pool open until tomorrow, despite the fact that we're streaming games tonight. So,
is it possible to edit your bracket?
It is. Yeah, there's a fix right in progress, and it's a good question. It was confusing. They've made it easier, but there should be an edit your bracket button or function. I'm not going to show it on screen now because it's literally the fix is happening right as we speak. So I'm not going to try to stumble through it, but I'll put some guidance out there and let you know how to do that.
I think when I did my bracket, I forgot to select the champion fight.
I did too, actually.
Yeah.
So both me and you, it's exactly. So growing pains all around. That fix is going on. That's a very important fix that they have going on. So it's underway now. And yeah, like I said, I'll get you the guidance on how to do that. So what do we have in store for tonight? Our first fight. Let me pull up the bracket here on screen and I'll show you.
So, what kind of updates have been made to the formula, if any?
So the algorithm that we call the battle engine, no significant updates since last year. However, character stats have changed.
That was my next question. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's still third age, right? So this is the third age version of some of these characters. The very few characters that transcend ages, several of your elves, for example, were alive in the second age, some even the first age. We're talking in Third Age Throwdown Tournament about the third age manifestation of those characters, right? So Gandalf, for example, don't think Olorin from Valinor in the first age, right? Or shadowy figure that might or might not have been there in the second age, not doing much. We're talking about Gandalf the Grey, third age Gandalf that we all know, that TJ there knows from the movies, right? From the books. So, good question. So here we have the bracket, And tonight, first of all, other news for folks joining, because of the delays to our start time, we still want to stay on track with this tournament so we can finish it by mid-April. That unfortunately has required us to take a couple of the 11-12 fights offline. So we won't be streaming the 11-12 fights in the play-in round this year. We had to sacrifice those for the good of finishing this tournament on time. However, the fights still will be posted to YouTube, right? So if you want to see, for example, Grishnak against Pippin, that first one on your screen there, hit up YouTube. We'll have that posted tonight or early tomorrow, right? So they're still viewable by folks out there. You can go check those out. We just won't be streaming them live. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah, totally.
So yeah, we unfortunately had to sacrifice those for timeliness again because of the delays that we've experienced in getting the actual brackets rolled out to folks. So those of you guys that just joined the stream and you're viewing now, I was telling everyone that brackets are still open. Go to MiddleEarthMadness.com. Make your brackets. You still can, right? So I will put a banner across the screen here. We will actually be editing this. Give me 1 second here. I'm going to say, make your bracket bow free. Hit up MiddleEarthMadness.com. All right. So we'll scroll that for a minute while we go through the fights for tonight. Tonight, we have some pretty juicy ones. So again, tournament format, quick note on the tournament format. If you're not used to a play-in style tournament, this is a 48-character tournament for third age characters, right? The cool thing about this format, unlike, say, March Madness brackets, for example, in March Madness, you have a 16 against a 1 in the first round. Not a very close fight, right? Same with a 15-2, 14-3, 13-4. You have to kind of narrow the field down until you get, your 8-9 matchups are good. Your 7-10 matchups are good. Even the next couple are good, but some are not good. Most of them are blowouts, right? In this format, it allows us to have some really, really close fights because, as you can see, we're talking about 11s against 12s. Very similarly, strong characters, similar seeds, very similar character strength. Right off the bat, whether we're talking about an 11-12, a 5-6 on through, right? So as I scroll down the bracket here, you can see our play-in round is all 8-7, 10 against 9, very even characters here throughout the field. That's the good news. So tonight we're just going to go straight down the list pretty much. We got a 5-6, Eladan against Glowing, and then Beorn against Boromir. Then we're going to skip down to the next 5-6, Thorin against Shelob, and Gimli against Azog. So those are our fights tonight. Any questions before we get into the action, fellas?
I'm good.
Comments?
I'm just excited to start this again.
Let's go. All right, so our 5-6 fight that we have for you tonight is Eladan, son of Elrond, one of the two twin sons of Elrond, against Glowing, the dwarf of Erebor, who was featured, mostly in the events of The Hobbit. And the winner of that, our bracket is sort of disconnected in this visual. Sorry about that. We will polish this up. But the winner of this, just to be clear, since the lines don't connect here, I don't know, they do at the bottom and then they don't at the top. So I don't know, it looks pretty at the bottom and then distorts at the top. We'll see what's up with that. But anyway, the winner of this fight is going to play the Olog High, who gets a bye in this round. But he's our 4 seed in the tournament. The Olog High is waiting to make a human or dwarvish or elvish sacrifice out of whoever wins this. But as you can tell, we're talking about a 5 or a 6 against a 4. They got a pretty good chance of slaying the Olog High in that next round. But here we are. We are starting with Eladan against Glowing. So let's see how these two stack up real quick before the fight. Eladan, of course, is, I already mentioned who he is, son of Elrond, ranger also of the Dunedain. So viewers or readers of the stories will recognize this guy from the end of the Two Towers, but more the Return of the King, where they take the paths of the dead with Aragorn. This did not happen in the movies. Unfortunately, it would have been sweet. The extended version of the movies featured the paths of the dead and the King of the Dead and the dead men of Dunharrow in a cool extended scene, right? With the skulls inside the mountains. TJ, did you see the extended version? I know your dad has them.
I don't think we did.
Okay. Yeah, that's some neat scenes there, though. And Eladan was with that company. In the movies, it was only Aragorn, Gimli, Legolas. In the books, however, all of the Dunedain Rangers, I shouldn't say all, a contingency of Dunedain Rangers did join with Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas to take the paths of the dead, a shortcut through the White Mountains and across Gondor to arrive at Pelargir in time to get those black ships, to defeat the Corsairs, to get the black ships and get to Minas Tirith pronto. So that was most of Eladan's fighting action in the stories occurred there. So you can see he has some key victories here. We did a full round robin. What does that mean? That means everyone fights everyone, and we call that our regular season, right? So it gives us a sample size to use to see these characters going into the tournament. So how did Eladan do in the regular season? Well, he's 27 and 25, which might sound sort of meh, right? In this tournament, though, it's enough to give him the 5 seed. So, for example, look at why. He slew Saruman. He slew Glorfindel, Treebeard, Shelob. So we know he can win fights against studs, right? But on the downside, he also lost to Ugluk, Bard, Glowing, and Eomer. Interesting that he lost to Glowing because they're about to have a rematch. All right. So I won't belabor the battle stats too much. What I suggest folks doing if this is your first time viewing this, go to MiddleEarthMadness.com, hit up the characters page and the battle engine page for full breakdowns. Better yet, subscribe, and we do deep dives in our newsletter and on our subscriber-only streams that we're bringing to you guys. New features, new content this year. That's the best way to get intimate with all these battle stats. For now, suffice it to say, think of them like Madden stats. If you played the football game Madden on PlayStation, right? Characters have Madden stats. Players have Madden stats. These are just the stats that allow us to simulate the battle. We have a full battle flow here that you can see. Again, I don't want to belabor this too much on Battle Nights. It takes a lot of time for us to kind of get granular and get nitty-gritty with all this stuff. But if you played tabletop games before, D&D, things like that, we're basically talking about virtual dice rolls that occur at various stages throughout the clash between the two characters, right? So it starts from which character prefers ranged attack at the left side of your screen there, going all the way through, a series of virtual dice rolls in the algorithm that determine, can you engage the other character? Well, if the other character has high elusiveness versus your agility, it's going to be hard to even engage the character, let alone hit him, let alone wound him. And then how much do you wound him on the right side of your screen there? A tink is what we call sort of, it's just a term of art for, hey, small wound. Slight smite, to use, the Tolkien parlance, about 15 to 30% of his life, if you land one of those. Heavily hewn is what we describe as 30 to 90% of his life in one wound. And then a death stroke, slain, bottom right of your screen. That's what we say when someone just gets decapitated or grievously hewn. So that's kind of the battle flow, right? Again, go to the website. We got a lot more on all that. So Glowing. We talked about Elladan. Who's he fighting? He's fighting Gimli's dad. So kind of some cool connections, you know. Think of Elladan, picture him taking the paths of the dead with Gimli. Of course, Glowing is Gimli's dad. Again, he was featured mostly in the events of The Hobbit when he helped Thorin's company liberate Erebor from the worm Smaug. So so exact same record actually as Elladan, but he's a seed lower than Elladan. Why? Well, that goes to the strength of schedule and the strength of their wins versus the strength of their losses. As you can see under key losses here, Glowing, he kind of has more of a tendency to get defeated or upset, I would say, by lesser characters. Calling Pippin lesser, calling Grishnak lesser. All right. No offense to Pippin and Grishnak, right? But they're putzes compared to some of these heavy hitters. Glowing got upset by Pippin, by Grishnak, by Eowyn, and the Battle White. However, look at the other side. He slew Smaug. Hey, man. Weird shit happens in Middle-earth. Sometimes you get an upset like this. Glowing happened to get one of those huge upsets. He slew Smaug. He slew Elrond. He slew Treebeard. And he slew Beor. Again, everyone fights everyone in our regular season, coming to a record that's quick maths, 28 plus 48, whatever that is. That's someone help me out. 48 plus 4. That's gonna be 52. Yeah. So everyone gets 52 or 53 fights in the regular season. That gives us a sample size. And these were the outcomes. Generally speaking, though, here in this fight, we're talking about one character, Glowing, who's, he's a dwarf. He has really good defensive stats. All dwarves do. They have high valor. They have high toughness, high armor. So they're more defensive than offensive. Glowing especially isn't much of a tank on offense here. He's no slouch, but just scrolling through, obviously he doesn't have a ton of magic. He doesn't have really any ranged quality here if he's forced to use his ranged attack, which does happen, as you'll see in every fight. Once in a while, a character gets cornered. He's in a sticky spot. Maybe he drops his hammer. Maybe he drops his axe. We don't say too much on that because we want folks to picture the fight how you want to picture the fight, right? We just give you the general description of what's going on in the fight. We want to do a better job this year of really making it more imagination driven. So as I narrate the fight with the folks on the call here, encourage you guys to picture this thing unfolding between these two characters the way you want, right? We give you one picture of each character here before the fight, and then one in the battle engine as well. The rest, picture it how you guys picture it, and we'll just tell you sort of play by play what happens. And so with that, are we ready to fight?
Let them fight.
Past ready, right, guys? You're like,
Let's do it.
Shut the heck up, Maestro. Get to it. First fight of the night for the Third Age Throwdown. Easy for me to say. Elladan against Glowing. Let us fight! All right. Fellas, do we have the battle engine screen up?
Yeah.
You guys see it?
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Cue battle music and let us have our first battle of this tournament, shall we? First attack goes to Glowing. He uses his dwarven warhammer but misses. Elladan comes back with his Dunedain bow, hits but tink off the armor. Initiative back to Glowing. Fails to engage. Back and forth they go through 5 rounds, nothing happening yet. Engaging, often failing to engage. Back and forth through 10 rounds. The first blood drawn by Elladan. Interesting. Not much of a wound there. On they go. They fail to engage, fail to hit, approaching 15 rounds. Now we might have a defensive struggle here, guys. Ooh, hatchet toss. See? That's an example of character being forced to use his less favorable weapon. And it did not go well. So far, a defensive struggle here. A hit, but failure to wound on another hatchet toss by the dwarf. The half-elf. Back and forth. Miss. A wound! Very, very slight with the Dunedain bow. That dwarvish armor already coming in handy multiple times here. Back and forth they go. A hit, but a failure to wound. Let me adjust my window so I can bring this better to you guys. Stand by 1 second, please. All right, so let us resume the fight. A wound! Again, just a tink. Had a tough time with those. That dwarvish armor is real, man. Back and forth they go. A hatchet toss hits this time, and they're tied. Glowing got a slight amount of elvish blood there. Half elvish blood, half human blood. It's still red, I reckon. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. They're hitting but failing to wound in the wounding stage through 40 rounds. Anyone's fight here, guys. Hit. Engage but failure to hit. Blood hits, does not wound. A wound by the dwarf to take the lead. A slight smite for 20 damage by Glowing, who now has the advantage through 47 rounds. Thoughts so far, gentlemen?
Very identical stats, you can tell.
Indeed. Pretty tough one here, right? On we go. Tink! Off the armor. Hatchet toss. It's interesting that Glowin's being forced to use so many hatchet tosses. He should get back to his hammer. On they go through 50 rounds. Still anyone's fight. Lead to Glowing. Failure to engage. Failure to hit. They engage. They cannot hit. They score a hit, but no wound. On they go. Through 60 rounds. A slight wound by Eladin. Another wound by Glowing. Captain Hugh.
Ooh.
The elf, son of Elrond, is on life support. A fell stroke by the dwarf. Shout out to Chucky. Chucky would be happy.
Yeah.
And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Slain! Glowing wins with a slight smite. Again, wins it with the hatchet toss. An interesting first fight. You don't often see the secondary weapon winning the fight, but that's exactly what happened in our first fight. It was interesting. The Glowin using his less favorable weapon in that fight, that being his hatchet toss, ended up winning the fight for him. So he saw something in the old scouting report on that one, didn't he?
Perhaps he couldn't close the distance. That's all he had.
That's all he had. Exactly. So I'll let you guys talk about that. Thoughts on the first fight while I load the second fight.
Definitely knew it was going to be a close one.
Yeah.
But I didn't think it would go above like 50 or 60 rounds. That's quite a lot from what we've seen.
Exactly right. That was a long one for a first fight, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, surprising how identical the stats are.
Yeah, they very even in that first one.
I was really paying attention to agility and elusiveness.
It seemed to be a thing. I mean, they had a tough time hitting each other in that one.
That's a swift dwarf.
It must have been, man.
He's swift.
You wouldn't have thought. I mean, I always picture him kind of older, but that's probably incorrect, right? Because he obviously he wasn't one of the elderly dwarves in the events of the Hobbit, not to my knowledge. I just I reckon he's Gimli's dad, so I picture him older, but maybe he was very sprightly in his younger years.
Yeah.
All right, let me adjust some stuff, and we will get to our second fight of the night. Got screens going on all over here. Remember how to drive it, Maestro. Be a proper Maestro. Cool. So in our second fight of the night, we have Bjorn, skin changer of the Karok. And he's going up against Boromir. Fan favorite. And this is, let's take a look at the bracket again. We'll see where we're at. So this is the 7 versus 8 fight in this region, the winner of which takes on Treebeard in the next round. So Treebeard got the bye. He's the 3 seed, and he's just waiting for whoever advances from this Boromir Bjorn fight. So good one here. I'm intrigued by this one. Initial thoughts on this matchup, guys?
I feel like there's going to be some pretty heavy wounds on both sides.
2 heavy hitters, right?
Yeah, I think it'll be a quicker match.
I'm estimating probably like 30 rounds, maybe 40.
Yeah, maybe 30 or 40. Because thought process being that, you know, they're not super agile like the I mean, you wouldn't have thought Gloin was super agile, but yeah, if they get hits on each other, when they get hits on each other, they're going to do some damage. These two do not mess around, and I'll show you. Go ahead.
They will chunk each other down.
Yeah,
for sure.
A man bear pig against a literal man bear. So okay, so let's take a look at what we're talking about here. Sorry, I'll put the cards back up for 1 second and show you. Yeah, so Bjorn 24 and 28, which again to me was a surprisingly bad season for him. Season in quotes, right? I would have expected better, and in last year's bracket, he was seeded better than this. So obviously, look, he can defeat heavy hitters. We see that he defeated Saruman, Galadriel, Quickbeam the Ent, and the Watcher in the Water. Okay, but look who he lost to. He lost to Merry, to Gorbag, and Orc, and Frodo, and Imrahil. Imrahil, you know, no disgrace in that, I guess, but, you know, some bad losses here, right? And a lot of mediocre losses in that 28 number. So taking a look here at Boromir. How'd he do? Well, you know, the record, it's even worse. It's 1 game worse, 1 match worse. So he's the 7 seed, also lost to the likes of Pippin, Frodo, Bod, Theoden. But, you know, again, he had some quality wins. Both of them in this fight slew Saruman. Interesting. And Quickbeam. Interesting. So very similar here. That's why we thought it would be a nice 7-8 matchup. Gwahir, that's a tough out, right? Giant eagles are really tough to kill, right? If you hit them, they don't have much armor, but they're offensive tanks. And then he also lost to Eladon, who has already been eliminated from this tournament earlier tonight. So good matchup here. Thoughts before we queue it up in the battle engine?
Lots of damage potential on both sides, but that's it. You know, not tons of armor, not tons of deflection, just lots of damage.
Yep. I see it the same way. The battle engine, what? Anything interesting here? By the way, what we're looking at here on the graphs, if it's helpful to the folks, green line is Bjorn, blue line Boromir. That gives you a quick glance of what to expect in each fight, right? So it's a useful tool kind of as a pregame. You can tell the major disparity here seems to be with magic, although neither is really a hugely magical character, but Bjorn with the large advantage in magic and spirit, again, because he's a skin changer, an ancient race with clearly some magical ability here. 64 magic isn't, it's nothing stellar, but it's solid, right? It's compared to 22 for Boromir. That's certainly an advantage. What does magic do? In the damage phase of the fight at the end, it's 1/3 of the sort of calculus that goes on at the very end, if you engage and you hit and you wound, how much damage is done? Well, that's determined by a character's striking, their ferocity, and their magic. All three in equal shares. So that's where we're at in terms of the stats. Again, for full stat breakdowns, hit up the website. We don't want to get down in the weeds with any of that. Other than that, the seems pretty close. The major advantage I'm seeing with Boromir is with armor. He has his shield, right? So not a heavy armor wearer, Boromir. However, he does have that shield, which gives him 70 armor points just from having the shield down there from Gondor. So that's something to watch maybe as the fight progresses. Pretty even here, guys. So I will stop talking and I will say, or someone will say for me,
Let them fight.
the line I'm looking for is, let us fight. No? Okay.
Yes, sir. Oh, we've lost the maestro. All right, we're just gonna hang out for a few minutes, I guess.
All right. How do you think this fight's going to turn out?
I think Bjorn probably gonna take this one,
Sorry, guys.
but I've been
totally
wrong
dropped.
before.
My
Yeah,
bad.
you're back. It's all good.
Perfect timing to drop, too. Right before the fight. Okay, hey. So, Chucky, welcome to the show. I dropped. I had an internet glitch there. My apologies. We were it's kind of funny. We were just queuing up that next fight, too, and I went bye-bye.
All good. What's up, guys?
What's up,
Nah,
man?
I am on the run, like kind of with not like with kiddos and stuff. So, but tried to join. What fight are we on? Just fill me in really quickly.
Yeah, you got it. We are about to fight. Second fight of the night, Bjorn against Boromir. So as I joked,
Okay.
a man bear pig against a literal man bear.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
one just has no pig.
The one just lacks pig.
All right. Cool.
Who you got on the fight?
Oh, I'm going Boromir.
Boromir?
Boromir.
Yeah.
Who did you pick in your brackets, children?
I believe Boromir.
Excellently done. Let me share the battle engine screen. We're almost back up and running here. Okay, can you guys got that back up on your screen, right? We're good. We good?
Yes, sir.
Then once again, the line of the night is let them fight. Bjorn against Boromir. Second fight, third age throwdown. Let's do this. First attack, 2. Boromir swings the sword of Minas Tirith, cannot engage. Second attack to Bjorn, right off the slight smite with the savage clouds.
Oh no.
Yes.
Ouch.
Okay, can Boromir recover? Not that time, cannot engage. The bear cannot engage. Is he fighting in man form? Is he fighting in bear form? That is up to you to decide in your own imagination. It's that old school thing called imagination. Another wound, but with the savage claws. That shield is doing nothing for Boromir so far. Nothing.
Well.
Can he get back in this? There's a stroke! A wound!
Oh.
Oh.
Boromir slays Bjorn!
All right.
All
out here.
right. It's like a cock push-up. All you need is one. All you need is one, ladies and gentlemen. So there you go. That, yeah, in short order, just when we think a character is down and out, you see there a death stroke, our first death stroke of the tournament. So the stars aligned, and Boromir again, this guy's no slouch. I mean, he's a stud in terms of offensive strength, and certainly in those categories that matter for doing damage to a character with no armor, like Beorn. That was his downfall in this. And so we have our first upset of the tournament as well. Boromir shall advance. Thoughts on that one, fellas? Good one.
It went pretty much the way I thought. Chunky, heavy hits.
Very short match, only 7 rounds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that reminds me of the last time I fought a bear. You know, they got a couple claws in on me and then just one punch.
You got sick of it and just wielded your blade?
Yeah, it was in Oregon. I was on a hike and it like just ran up on me and, you know.
Oh, wait, you're being serious?
No.
I was going to say, I thought we were joking around here.
No,
I hope we're joking around.
No, I would, well, you don't really want to run from bears, but anyway, I digress. Yeah, good fight. Glad Boromir won because that's my pick. I think I have him going kind of far too, so we'll see.
I think that might be a good pick. Let's get the bracket up right quick.
That was my pick as well.
That was your pick as well? Let's see. So I'll put the bracket up. So we were just talking this. So Boromir is going to advance to fight Treebeard in the next round.
Yeah, that's right.
Good fight there. And then Chucky, the earlier fight, Glowing hewed down Elladan. And he will advance to fight the Olag High.
Good.
Yes. That cues up our next fight of the evening, Thorin against Shelob. So, Thorin against Shelob. What can we say about this one while I cue it up here? Well, we've got Shelob. You guys know about her from... Actually, in the books, it was the Two Towers. In the movies, it was the Return of the King. This is one of the offspring of Ungoliant. Who is Ungoliant? Well, a bigger, nastier version of Shelob. Much bigger, much nastier. It's widely speculated, actually, who Ungoliant was. All we know is that in the First Age, Melkor, Morgoth himself, Sauron's liege lord, you could call him. So Sauron, for folks that aren't aware, Sauron, not only the Dark Lord, but also a being that we call a Maiar. And that basically means an angel. Obviously an evil angel, okay? So we're not talking about dudes with halos and white wings, Bertie style. We're talking about death angels. What that means in Tolkien's lore, though, is they were both. When I say both, I say so Ungoliant most probably was some form of Ainur, so an ancient creature that descended from the netherworld, from the outer world, to Middle Earth when Middle Earth was basically not even fully formed, and came down there in spider and shadow shape. And obviously, if you're a being that likes, things like spider shapes and weaving shadows of death, you're going to be friends with Morgoth. Who was Morgoth? Morgoth was the first Dark Lord of Valar, of destruction, really an entropic force. I don't think of him as evil as much as some people do. I'm not going to go down, the full rabbit hole. But here's a take for you to ruminate on. Are you truly evil if you were contemplated by God, by the maker of all things, by Eru Ilúvatar? You were part of the plan from the beginning. Eru Ilúvatar knew that you would be this note of discord in the otherwise the harmony of all things in his plan for the creation of Earth and for the birth of the firstborn, the elves, and the secondborn, humans, and even the sort of unforeseen birth of the dwarves with Aule. My point is just that, can you truly call a being evil who initially just wanted to smash down everything that his buddies create and dominate? He was by far the strongest. I'm talking about Morgoth here, Melkor. the strongest of all the Valar, the same way Sauron was the strongest of all the Maiar, right? But maybe even more so in Morgoth's case. So anyway, Ungoliant became best friends very early on with Morgoth. And Ungoliant is sort of the not, you can't say mom, but you can kind of say mom because they're chick spiders, right? Both of them. So you can kind of say mom. Shelob's ancestor, we'll say, was Ungoliant, the Shadow Weaver in the First Age, who at one point actually pinned down Morgoth and almost forced him to release. Well, she did force him to release several gems that they were hoarding, but almost the Silmarils themselves. And if it wasn't for a few Balrogs intervening in a key scene in the Silmarillion, Ungoliant very well might have slain or disembodied Morgoth himself. So Shelob the spider heavily descended through years of weird, twisted breeding, the details of which we don't have and probably don't want to know about. But all that is described to us is over thousands of years throughout the Second Age and into the Third Age. The creatures and the foul offspring of Ungoliant gave way over generations to Shelob. Again, a creature in spider form, but descended from beings that were mysterious and unknown, right? So that's a very long way of describing Shelob. How'd she do in the regular season? Well, she's a 6 seed because she's 27 and 25. On the upside, she's shown the ability to slay heavy hitters like Smaug, Glorfindel, Elrond, Galadriel. Okay, so that's impressive. On the downside, though, she got picked off by Bilbo. Again, Bilbo has Sting. I mean, that's cool in a story sense, but in the algorithm, in the battle engine, Sting doesn't have any special ability against spiders. That'd be cool to program, but we're not that sophisticated. Bilbo does have Sting, though, and that gives him offensive stats that are solid, more solid than a Hobbit should have anyway. But still, I mean, at the end of the day, Shelob lost to Theoden, Balin, Bolg, which puts her at a 6 seed. 25 losses. Not quite as stout as you might picture her being. So that's why she's a 6 seed here. It goes off how she performed, and therefore how we project her to perform in the tournament. So I lost who she's fighting, guys. Help me out. Shelob is fighting Thorin. So, Thorin Oakenshield. You guys remember him from mostly The Hobbit. But the main times we saw him fight were in the Battle of the Five Armies, but also my favorite incidents of him on the battlefield and how he earned his nickname, Oakenshield, was at the Battle of Azanul Bizar at the end of the War of the Orcs and the Dwarves. And I'll let you guys Google that one. All I'll say is at the end of that battle, he was able to, again, earn his nickname, Thorin Oakenshield, by being rather fell in battle. And avenging one of his fathers, I think it was Thror, who was, oh guys, you guys have to keep me honest on that. Was it? Yes, it was Thror, because Thrain was the one who had the last dwarven ring and lived on and was kind of went mad and was ultimately tortured, captured and tortured. And Sauron got the last of those dwarvish rings from Thrain. But Thorin avenged his father Thror at the Battle of Azanul Bizar. But it was Dane who eventually decapitated Azog and won that war for the dwarves. Horrific war, heavy casualties by the dwarves. Heavy action by Thorin here. He was valiant, and he earned his reputation, right? He gets a 5 seed in this because he's 28 and 24 in the round robin, where everyone fights everyone, right? He was able to slay Gandalf. He slew Durin's Bane, the Balrog, Galadriel, and Glorfindel. Okay, so enough said, man. The guy's capable of fighting anyone. But again, look at the key losses: Merry, Grishnak, Bolg, Legolas. Legolas is not a bad loss. Bolg's not really a bad loss. Merry and Grishnak should have won those, right? So, thoughts on this while I queue up the battle engine, guys?
This one's hard for me to pick. Either one of them could really win it. But I think Thorin might have a slight advantage.
You going off feel there, or for any reason in particular?
I think he's a little tankier.
Yeah.
I think he can take some more hits, but still capable of dealing out about the same amount of damage as Shelob.
Yeah, again, I was a little surprised. I mean, that Shelob just sort of underperformed. I mean, no way around it. She underperformed not only what we thought her seed was last year, but sort of who we picture her to be, I think. So it's interesting. Let me get this up on the screen for you guys. Sorry about that. Bear with me one sec. Boom. There we go. No. So I got to take away this. Cool. We are back. All right. Without further ado, Thorin against Shelob. Let them fight. In the play-in round of the third age throwdown, we have Thorin taking on Shelob. Let us fight. First attack to Shelob right off the bat with a slight smite. Oh man, wasting no time. The raging spider, not messing around, fellas. All right, Thorin's gonna have to use Orcrist. Orcrist, unlike Sting, not enchanted against spiders, to my knowledge, but a fell blade nonetheless. Let's see what he can do. Comes right back with Orcrist. Engages, wounds, but only a slight wound. Shelob, again with the venomous fangs, cannot engage. A wound by Thorin! A heavy one! Another death stroke in 4 rounds! Unbelievable. Wow. Okay, so those two were not messing around at all. And we have 2 death strokes in 2 consecutive games. Guys, that's rare. That's not going to happen very often. So, unbelievable stroke by Thorin with Orcrist, and he manages to slay Shelob. And pulling the second upset of the night. So, yeah, very interesting. Well, we're gonna be talking about that one for a minute, not because it was long and entertaining, but because it could have gone either way for only 4 rounds, and then it ended up being a beatdown. So, what do you guys think of that?
Didn't expect it to go that quick.
Yeah, to say the least, right? TJ, who'd you like in that one?
I honestly thought that Thorin might have won.
Yeah. So you'd have picked him before the fight if I'd have asked you like who you thought could win?
Yeah.
Nice. Nice. There we go. Cool. So, Thorin Oakenshield advances to take on the Watcher in the water. That'll be an interesting one too. Thorin makes short work of Shelob, and he shall.
I have strong feelings about the Watcher.
In what sense?
The Watcher let me down so hard last time.
Oh yeah,
I was so excited. I thought the Watcher would do good, but underperformed for me anyway.
Dude, so he or she, is this thing a chick or a dude? Who can say pour sure? We don't know the Watcher's pronouns, but whatever it is, it sort of was the opposite of Shelob, right? I would say it overperformed in the regular season. 31-21 and just can tangle with anyone. So impressive job. We'll see what happens. We're skipping ahead on that, but yeah, that'll be a fun one. I just noticed that the seeds in the battle engine are incorrect, so I'm going to make a note to fix those. Sorry about that, guys. I don't know if you noticed that, but in the battle engine for tonight, pay no attention to those seeds. The correct seeds are all in the bracket. These are correct, right? So I'm showing you the bracket tracker page of MiddleEarthMadness.com. Ignore tonight, at least for tonight's purposes. By the next stream, we'll get this fixed. But tonight, the seeds are wonky. It doesn't matter. The characters are the same characters. So we're fighting the right fights here. Just the seeds on the battle engine need to be updated. That's all. Engine Chief, shout out to you if you're watching. If you wouldn't mind getting on that and updating those based on our bracket, that would be fantastic. One more fight tonight, guys. How are we feeling?
I feel like it might be another fast one.
Another fast one to bring it home?
Yeah.
Who shall fight? That is the question.
Who are we fighting?
This guy. Azog the Defiler. Against, fan favorite. Drum roll, please. Our favorite dwarf, Gimli. So this one's nasty. We briefly touched on Azog, only in the sense that I mentioned the Battle of Azanul-Bizar. He was the chief of the orcs of Moria that fought in that war. And unlike the Hobbit movies that you're probably thinking of, where Azog was there, the pale orc that went throughout those whole movies until the Battle of the Five Armies. Not how the books had it, okay? In the books, Azog was slain at Azanul-Bizar by Dane Ironfoot, okay? So those movies I still like those movies, right? I didn't love them the way I did the Lord of the Rings movies. That's a whole rabbit hole that we don't need to go into either. Good movies. I thought actually rewatching those Hobbit movies, the 3 Hobbit movies, that should have been only 2 probably Hobbit movies, but they stretched it out right into 3 movies. I will say one thing. After not liking them initially years ago, I did a rewatch recently, and I was, at least the first 2, super good. And then the third one is kind of well, it started going south in the second movie, right? With the she-elf Tauriel character that does all the dancy barrel acrobatics and warrior stuff. They pull the character completely out of their Anu's holes and then turn her into something super ballistic. Didn't love it. Still a good movie overall, I would argue. And then in the third movie, still more watchable than I remember it. Some cool things that they pulled out of the lore with the war worms and the bats, and I really like the storyline of the Nazguls and Gundabad linking up with Dol Guldur. My take on the Hobbit for you there.
That was a cool scene.
It was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
TJ, did you see all 3 of those Hobbit movies? You're on mute. No worries. We'll let TJ chime in a minute if he can hear us and see us. I will advance us now to the battle engine and our final fight of the night. No, I won't, because I don't have it queued up. Oh man, look at me not being on my game. Patty Man.
Yo.
Who you liking this fight, man? Gimli versus Azog.
It's got to be Gimli.
It's got to be Gimli?
It's got to be Gimli. That's just a gut feeling.
Nice. Yeah, I think we'll compare the stats more in just a minute. Gimli's still on your screen, right? I'm messing with the battle engine, try to get this up and running. Yeah, Gimli's still on your screen, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so just with a quick look at his key victories and then his stats, how do you guys reckon he stacks up against Azog?
It's funny that they both get whomped by hobbits.
That is, yeah.
There's a lot of hobbits just thwomping people to death with their sticks and their stones.
Totally, literally in some cases with their sticks and stones. Exactly. Yeah, it's that's a weird one. Give me 1 second, guys. This thing is not cooperating, and I'm going to try again. Yeah, we'll touch on the hobbits more later, obviously when they actually fight. But the one thing I'll say about them now, highly elusive, which makes them hard to engage with. If you can't engage a character, you can't hit them. If you can't hit them, you can't wound them, right? It's intuitive enough. Also, they have elvish cloaks, which, that factors into their stats as well. They have barrel white blades, which are no slouch in terms of what their striking ability is, a little higher than you would expect for them being halflings. So they do have some ability. Now, again, at the end of the day, we're talking the lowest seeds in the whole game, right? At least with Merry and Pippin, Grishnak, Shagrat, characters like this are the very lowest characters in the game. But we're talking about Middle Earth here, and it's important for people to remember upsets did happen in the stories, and they definitely happen in the madness, right? So there's a high degree of randomness in these fights, as we've already seen, and as you'll keep seeing. Let me figure out what is going on with my battle engine here. Gimli against Azog. That's what we want. All right, we got it up and running, guys. Sorry about that. Are we ready to fight the last fight of the night?
Let us fight.
Move, Gimli. Move. All right, let's do this, guys. In the final battle of the evening, we have Gimli against Azog the Definer. Let us fight, shall we? First attack goes to Gimli. Ranged attack with a hatchet toss. Interesting choice there. Misses. Azog counters, fails to hit. Gimli comes back. Hits, does no damage. Azog swings the orcish scimitar. Cannot engage. Another hatchet toss by Gimli. Cannot engage. Orcish scimitar cannot engage. They're being wily so far. Gimli, for some unimaginable reason, sticking with his hatchet toss. Now, Azog is forced to use a ranged attack. A poisonous dart, but he misses. A strike and a wound by Gimli! Another death stroke! It is the Knight of Death with the hatchet toss. Very, very weird. Very weird of Gimli to do that.
Is that the second Deathstroke hatchet toss?
I believe that's the third.
Dude, is it? It's definitely the second Deathstroke.
There's 3 kids.
The last one.
I think
already
Gloin.
forget. Did Gloin do that too?
It wasn't a Deathstroke, but I think he got the killing blow with it.
Oh, man. That's weird. Okay. I've never seen that before, especially 2 Deathstrokes. 3? Was it 3 Deathstrokes in a row tonight?
I believe so. Because it was Shelob and then Azog.
Yeah.
And then maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. Let's take a look at the bracket here. So that's bonkers. So if we go back to the bracket here, that will be Thorin. Excuse me. Where are we at? Gimli with a hatchet toss. Okay. Advancing to take on the Dragon Smaug. No pressure, Gim. No pressure. Yeah, that I can't say I'm really looking forward to that one. But you never know, man. I shouldn't say anything. I will just be the maestro. I'll be Switzerland, neutral. So, guys, we've been going for an hour now. Final thoughts. What do you guys think of the fights tonight?
I think it's a good start.
Good start. Yeah, man.
Excellent start. Yeah.
TJ, what say you?
They were very interesting.
Yeah, we had some quick ones. I mean, we started out with a marathon match that went 60-some rounds, and then we brought it home with a couple of much shorter fights with guys just not wasting any time. Last year we used to say, is Smaug or someone going to play with their food? And sometimes they did. I remember in a couple cases, guys that should have won just don't step on the opponent's throat. They play with their food, so to speak, and then they regret it. And then that leads to upsets, right? So we already had a few of those tonight.
The upsets kind of reminded me of when Farmer Maggot with Fang and Bone, that incident.
Indeed.
Farmer Maggot is Phil.
Yes. So
especially with his hounds.
Yeah, so inside baseball. So we're referring to obviously you guys know the character Farmer Maggot, but last year in Third Age Throwdown, he was a new character, and it's not just Farmer Maggot, it's Farmer Maggot and Fang and Grip and Wolf, right? So his 3 hounds. And so that is his ranged attack, right? He doesn't hunk rocks or hatchet toss like some of these other guys. He so he goes full out with the ranged attack with the wolves. So he was able to defeat, I want to say it was the wasn't it?
I believe it was the avoid Sauron.
I think he went
Sauron.
Yeah, he went like 3 rounds in.
TJ's right. He slew Sauron.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So that was a lot of fun. I mean, that if you guys watch the March Madness basketball tournament, this happens every year. We're in a year where a 10 seed was the lowest seed that made the Sweet 16. But most years you get like an 11, 12, 13, sometimes a 15 seed. Middle Earth is the same way. I say it all the time. Upsets do happen in the stories. They definitely happen in the battle engine. So it's just it's one thing to watch. It makes this whole tournament a lot more interesting because it's going to happen again. All right. So that is our show for tonight. Those are our 4 fights. Let me just say my contractually obligated stuff, which is we have new content this year, guys. We have a newsletter. It's actually pretty sick, if I do say so myself. It's what does it offer? Well, it offers trips to Lordor. You got a taste of that tonight. Although, it's even a deeper dive into certain aspects of lore. Issue 1, the February issue, for an example, we do a deep dive on Helm Hammerhand. And if you saw the animated version of the War of the Rohirrim recent movie, they do actually a pretty good job of telling you some of the backstory with Helm and Helm's Deep and how the Erlingas that we call the Rohirrim in the Return of the King and in the Two Towers, right? The Riders of Rohan. Where do they come from? Why do they have this legacy? All of that. Helm Hammerhand. You can read about him in our February edition of the newsletter. But also, we're making brackets this year. That's our main content rollout. You guys can go make your own brackets. They're still open, despite our stream tonight. We're leaving them open for the whole play-in round. So it's not too late. Go to MiddleEarthMadness.com. Hit up our bracket tracker page. Fill out your bracket. It's free. So no excuses, guys. Get after it. Make a bracket. Throw it in there. Stack them up against TJ's bracket, against Patty Man's bracket. I, again, am not making a bracket. My show is Switzerland this year, so I'm neutral. I got no dog in the fight. So, but that's what we're doing. We're out here doing it. So it's a lot of fun, a lot more content than last year. So if you join us for the first time, cool. You can go watch all the fights you missed, Have I talked about YouTube yet? I haven't. Go to our YouTube site. Where is our YouTube site? Either Google it or go to middleearthmadness.com, hit up the link tree. Follow us we're on all your favorite platforms, Instagram, TikTok, all of it. I'll be better, I promise. I'm not the world's greatest social media creator, but I got to get after it a little more on TikTok. So I promise more TikTok stuff to come. Follow us on your favorite platform, though. That's the main thing. And make a bracket. Like, that's the fun thing we have to offer you. Subscribe if you want. 2 subscription tiers. One of them is only $3.79 a month. Your subscription really does help us, though, guys. It helps us keep bringing you making, first of all. It's expensive to, hire devs and create this content for you. Way more complicated than I thought, just making a program to do something as simple as score brackets for you. So the way you can support us bringing you more ideas and more content is to just go subscribe. Go subscribe. $3.79 a month if you can spare it. Awesome, man. That gets you the basic subscription, the newsletter. It gets you. This isn't our only tournament of the year. There's 3 more coming this year. We do one a quarter, one main event tournament per quarter. So we'll have one summer time frame, fall time frame, winter time frame. Those, unfortunately, will not be free unless you're a subscriber, right? So one of the perks of subscribing, you get a free bracket entry into that tournament. If you want to be a VIP subscriber, you get 3 free bracket entries into every tournament, every main event tournament that we have. The VIP is $13.79. Why these numbers? Well, think about the rings in Middle Earth. I will leave it at that. It was deliberate. It was deliberate. So $3.79, $13.79. Neither one super expensive. Pick the one that best suits you. We'd love to have your support. We need your support. So spread the word for us. Much appreciated, guys. I'll get off my promo high horse. And last words this evening.
Yeah, I really hope we got more people coming to make brackets.
Me too, man.
The more the better,
Tell your friends. That's the best way. Like organic, word of mouth really is the best way. So TJ, if you have any friends that like Lord of the Rings, feel free to let them know. We're out here doing this. In this tournament, certainly. Future tournaments, by law, we might be just restricted by lawyers that, you have to be 18, I think, to officially enter a tournament into a contest that could receive a payout. But what we'll do in those cases is create like a free pool that you can still play in and still make a bracket for. So watch out for that. Like, we want kids to be able to do this too. So we'll always have kid-friendly options. And then for the adults who want a chance to win money, that's what we're out here doing. That's the whole idea. Whether you're a subscriber or not, the thing I didn't mention is with all these future tournaments, you can pay $5 per bracket, throw one in for a chance to win payouts. We'll get some advertisers, some sponsors lined up, and we will bring you some payouts in the next tournament. For now, we're rolling free just to give everyone a taste of what we're about. So all good things, man. We're stoked to be back and doing this for all of you Middle Earth fans. So let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it growing. Let's tell folks, get the word out. Help me help you. All right, guys. Thanks for joining, Patty, man. Thanks for joining, TJ. Miss you guys. Miss your mugs. Miss your musk. That ain't gay to say, right?
Nah.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining. And to all you guys watching at home or watching across social medias, YouTube, even if you're watching this on demand later, remember, as Professor Tolkien himself said, you cannot come to the light without first passing through the shadow. And where there is light, there is always hope. You are never out of the fight. And we'll see you guys next time.